Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to do a first shots video. What a first shots video is basically I take a new firearm right out of the box, take it to the range and shoot it and give you my initial impressions. This is not a full review. I just want to bring you along and show you what you can expect when you buy a particular firearm for the first time you take it to the range. So today I'm going to talk about the new, or perhaps not so new, how about reintroduced Jericho series of pistols. I have a Jericho here in the box. It's a brand new product from IWI. Previously, these handguns were sold on the US market under the Magnum Research name as the Baby Eagle, and before that they were actually sold on the US market by IMI as the Jericho. So the gun has quite the history in the United States market, but it's good to see it back on the US market from IWI for one key reason, and that's what I want to talk about, are some of the features of this pistol. Now this is one of the first guns to ship from IWI, and it is a polymer framed compact. So this is the PSL 9mm model. You can see it has its warning tag still on it. We'll eventually take all that stuff off. But this is the handgun. It is a polymer framed handgun. It is a compact handgun. It's not a full-size Jericho. But this is in essence the same handgun that the Israelis issue to their military forces, although the Jericho that's most commonly used in Israel would be the steel-framed versions, which are coming into the US. They're going to offer a number of different versions of them. This just happens to be the first one I could get my hands on, and I was really excited to do so. I've shot previously the Jerichos in Israel and in the United States with the steel-framed counterparts. They are a little bit heavy. When you pick up this polymer pistol, the first thing you'll notice is it's a relatively light handgun, and it's very ergonomic. You can't deny the fact that it's also based on the CZ75. It has basically the exact same controls as the CZ75. The ergonomics are very similar to the CZ75, including the bow to the trigger, the reach, the pull. The only thing that the Israelis have really changed is kind of the contour here. That is definitely a little bit different, but very comfortable. And then of course the finger grooves, which some of you guys may or may not like. But here's the key difference between the actual Jericho and the pistol that IWI built for Magnum Research and was marketed as the Baby Eagle. The safety. This pistol has a military frame-mounted safety. The Baby Eagles had a Beretta 92 style slide-mounted safety, and that's the reason I never bought one. First of all, it's not an original military design, and secondly, I don't like having safeties on the slides themselves, and I can explain more why perhaps in the future. But I prefer a frame-mounted safety. Now the downside to that is the fact that the pistol does not have a decocker, so if you want to decock this pistol, you can carry it cocked and locked, which means you put the safety on with the hammer back, or you'll have to decock it for that first double action shot, which means you're going to have to pinch the hammer, pull the trigger, and ease it forward. And that's always a dangerous proposition, so you want to be very careful when you're doing that with a live round on a loaded handgun if you're going to carry it double action mode. So anyway, I want to take this pistol out to the range, do some shooting with it. I have not cleaned it. I have not lubed it. Some of you may chastise me for that, but I like to see how a gun runs right out of the box. And that's what we're going to do. So let's head out to the range and do a little bit of shooting with this handgun and see how it does. We're out on the range, and I have some 115 grain ball ammunition. This is just Blazer brass ammo, just some cheap range ammunition. Again, I've not cleaned this gun, lubricated it, nothing. I'm going to see how it handles the first 15 rounds. I've only loaded 15 rounds into the magazine because it's just kind of handy, but the magazines do hold 16 rounds. Let's fire these first few shots and see how this pistol handles. Really looking forward to this. I haven't fired a Jericho in quite some time. Fired all 15 rounds without a hiccup. Shoots really nice, has a decent trigger pull. I haven't measured the weight, but it's not a heavy trigger pull whatsoever. That's on single action. All the controls are logically placed. You might find if you have smaller hands, you might have a hard time hitting that slide stop if that's how you release your slide. If you do the pinch or slingshot method, it probably wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, recoil's really, really nice. Nice shooting pistol. Yeah, this thing is shooting really, really nice. No malfunctions, again, with just standard brass range ammunition. What a nice shooting little handgun. Let's take a look down range and see what it did. Here are the results from the first 30 rounds fired through the new Jericho 941. This is where I fired the first 15 rounds out of the first magazine. Now I was doing more or less a combat style shooting where I was just looking over the sights, not doing precision shots and just kind of, popping off rounds. I wasn't trying to shoot the smallest group possible. We'll do that here in a few minutes. And then for my second 15 rounds, I was aiming at the 8 here. The pistol shoots really, really nice, decent trigger. It's a surprisingly light recoil despite the fact that it's a polymer framed handgun. Overall, the ergonomics, outstanding. If you're familiar with the CZ75, I think you'll find that both the trigger and the overall ergonomics are going to be very similar to a CZ. If you plan to carry the 941 as a concealed carry pistol, there's something you need to take into consideration, and that is the fact that the handgun does not have a hammer drop safety. That is especially important if you want to carry it double action and not as a cocked and locked pistol, much like you would, say, a 1911. When you load the pistol and drop that slide on a live round, there's no way to safely put this hammer down. If you want the hammer down for double action carry, you will have to pinch the hammer, pull the trigger, and ease the hammer forward. And that is a very dangerous proposition that takes very careful application. One slip up and you'll have an accidental, or what some people like to refer to as a negligent discharge. So that's the only downside if you want to carry this pistol, especially if you plan on carrying it double action. If you plan on carrying it single action with the safety on, that's a completely different story. Of course, the Israelis, however, carry it with a full magazine without a round in the chamber typically, and they'll chamber around just before they start to shoot. They'll draw, chamber around, and fire. But I don't advise that type of carry. So you're either going to carry it cocked and locked like this, or you're going to have to lower that hammer very carefully on a live round if you're going to do that double action. We'll see what this double action trigger pull feels like. Not too bad. If you do plan to carry it as a 1911, that control's fairly easy to get to. Brushing it off is super simple, and you can ride it much like you would a 1911. And by riding it, I mean brush that safety off, keep that thumb on the safety, keeping it down, and firing the gun. Put the safety back on, ride the safety. All right, let's go down range, check that bad boy out. So 7-yard target, and into a 1-inch square or so, 5-shot group. The gun shoots really well. I like the trigger on the handgun. The sights, easy to pick up, just maybe a little bit low profile, but they are 3-dot style. But overall, it's a very easy handgun to shoot, and once again, it seems to shoot to point of aim for me. Well, things went pretty much as expected on the firing range. We had no problems with 150 rounds fired of Blazer brass ammunition, which is 115 grain ball. The gun has really decent recoil. You know, one of the things I noticed about the handgun is when you look at the barrel movement as it cycles, it drops down very little. And it made me think of the new Arsenal Strike 1 pistols, how they advertise. They have very little barrel movement. It supposedly helps with the recoil management. This pistol has about the same barrel drop as I've seen in the Strike 1 pistols. this handgun recoil is exceptionally manageable, but then again, CZ75s in general are very easy guns to control. It's just a very shootable handgun. The ergonomics are very good, and again, the shootability is really high on the, on a scale of 1 to 10. It's up there in the 9 to 10 range. The gun does have that frame-mounted safety, so that's something you need to take into consideration when you're looking at buying one of these. They are also available both with a polymer frame, which this one has, and also available with a steel frame. They're also available in different barrel lengths. They have a compact version, which this one is, and it has a 3.8-inch barrel. The full-size version will have a 4.4-inch barrel, but both the compact and the full-size pistols will accept the same 16-round magazine, so the grips are about the same size. Let's take a look at what you would get in the box. It'll come in a hard plastic case, and we'll go into more detail in the final review of the handgun after I put a lot more ammunition through it. But inside the box, you're going to find two 16-round magazines, a cleaning kit. The pistol fits in there nicely. It's a nice little range box. It should hold up fairly well. You don't have to go out and buy a case for it or anything. And the whole gun can be had for under $500. You'll find them online right around $480 to $500, which makes it extremely affordable for a self-defense handgun, a target handgun. It certainly has the accuracy potential. Overall, it's just a generally good gun, it would seem, but I'll save my final opinion for the final review video. If you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Military Arms. Also, if you would like to support the Military Arms channel, please swing by Copper Custom, which is our online store. We have a great selection of products at really good prices, and again, that's the best way to support the channel. Also, if you haven't already, please swing by and check out full30.com. I think you'll like what you'll see there. I'll put a link to all that good stuff in the description below. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon.